Hey there, welcome back once again. It is time for the Golden Age of DC Comics 365 Days, where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me about 2 decades ago by one of my best friends. This has been surfing my coffee table ever since and has been a constant source of comic book shop style conversations, the kind I wish to recreate here today with you. So pull up a chair to the coffee table. What goes great with a coffee table book, some coffee table talk? You and your cup of whatever. I brought a cup of Guatemalan Huehuetenango. I gotta make some more eventually too, huh? This is some good stuff. The Golden Age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. The Silver Age between 1956 and 1970. The Bronze Age, I'm a Bronze Age baby myself, between 1970 and 1985. And the Copper Age begins in 1985. I get these standards from the glossary of the most current Overstreet comic book price guide. I feel it's a good standard to have. I also will put these books under your nose as well while we're at it. Understanding Comics, The Invisible Art by Scott McCloud, and How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and John Buscema. These are very good ways to understand the mechanics of this genre that we love, and it just breaks it down for us and gives us the insider's perspective looking out, because usually we're the outsider looking in, literally. Thank you so much for coming by. You are the most important part of this show, this conversation that we keep having. I'm using this 365 Days book for its intended purpose. We are going to open up to today's date, October the 13th. And we're going to look at some art from an antediluvian age. We're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. That's right. Thank you. Awesome. And I hope you are clobbering your problems and not being clobbered by them. This is a 2004 Abrams print publication, curated and written by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Jeff Spear. I like giving them props in every episode and telling you that the link to the Amazon page is in the description so you can get your own copy. Seriously, play along at home. It will look great on your coffee table. It makes a great gift for a geek. I know. And I love giving this book a second chance, or maybe even a third or fourth chance. I've had it for years. I've read it several times. I just thought it would make great content and a great excuse to talk about comic books every day in a year. Isn't that cool? I love this. I love talking about comic books. So let's get to it. We're going to open up to today's date. It is October the 13th. Oh, gee. It's our old friend Airwave, master of the radio, and his roller skates that he uses to traverse the city upon power lines and phone lines. Let's get to it. This is art by Georges Rousseau from Detective Comics number 106, December of 1945. The magician of radio twirls the dials again and again after a time. You hungry, boss? Uh-huh. Hold on to your feathers, Static. I think we've got something. Static is Airwave's familiar, a pet that he converses with. And it is also helpful. The pet is a helper, an active participant in the story. Airwave, who possessed some sort of mental radio powers and traveled on telephone wires, also had the most unusual sidekick of any superhero, Static, the proverb parrot. Was essentially a pest whose only talent was squawking homilies mixed with wisecracks. This basically silly strip was redeemed by the drawing of Georges Rousseau, perhaps best known for assisting Bob Kane on Batman. For Airwave, Rousseau provided not only pencils and ink, but also unusual color schemes, like the ones seen here. Yeah, you got to make it stand out a bit, if you got this maybe potentially boring hero doing the same old thing that you're finding in every other magazine, you got to give them their own flair, right? It's a slow news day. I have to admit that. So on these slow news days, I am hitting my spinner rack. My spinner rack is in my living room. I don't have room to put it, whatever, I might like do rearranging for next year, and redo the shelves or whatnot. You never know. But like a lot of the us comic book creators, if we have a spinner rack, we keep it in the background of the shot. It looks good in my living room, seriously, with all my DVDs and movie posters. It looks like, hey, a geek lives here. Seriously, one does. A few, actually. I got flatmates. They're all right. It keeps the overhead low. I wanted to share with you a comic book that I got as a kid. I remember getting this exactly where I was. It must have been about 1979 or 80. And I'm at a flea market, the Wallaston Flea Market. Was it Wallaston? The Wallaston Flea Market? The Squantum Flea Market? It was down by the old Jordan Marsh factory outlet store in Squantum. Squantum is a part of Quincy, Massachusetts, which is directly underneath Boston proper. It's adjacent to Dorchester. Yeah, and the Ponset River separates the two. And I got this, and I had this for years, and then I lost it. I lost a lot. Who hasn't lost a good chunk of your childhood collections? Friend of the show, AL. We share a story, like a common bond. Our mothers threw out our comic books. Yeah, that's okay. That's just stuff happens, Maybe it's the Buddhist thing about having attachments and stuff, but I'm blessed as an adult that I have the choice to, get the things that I miss if they have a home in my life. So, and this was maybe about over 15 years ago at the time. I'm in Waltham. Waltham's another, that's a suburb of Boston, and there's an old comic book store there called the Outer Limits, and this place is still open. Thank goodness it survived the coof, or the virus of unknown origin, as little Willie's paw would say. And it's just one of the many comic book shops that I have to be blessed with in the Boston area. And Outer Limits, I've only been there a few times, and it's an old store. It's magnificent. And you know what? I'm really due a trip to Outer Limits. Yeah, maybe I can get some of those Summer of '81 Marvel comic books with the bike ad that I love so much. I don't care what they are. It has a bike ad. You're mine. If you have a reasonable price, you got a home on my spinner rack. I'm gonna make my spinner rack look like just like this, my cherry picking of my childhood, which includes today's Bronze Age offering. The magazine-sized Warren publication, Creepy, and their issue number 101, Jaws of Death. Check out these ads. I love these ads. I've had this magazine since I was a kid. I lost it, and it came back to me. I found this. We were at Outer Limits, getting, just checking things off the list. You have a list of old back issues. This leapt out at me from the in the bin. So I bought it then. It was $8.75 at the time. And this was $1.50 for its publication. Let's see. This is Creepy number 101. Published monthly except April and December by Warren Publications. And it doesn't seem to have a date on here in this indicia. It doesn't. Oh, but it says here, contents, September of 1978. And I just want to say, what got me as a kid, what I always wanted and I fawned over, all the Star Wars collectibles that I couldn't have. Like, we have a Darth Vader stick pin, a Darth Vader pendant chain. I wanted that X-Wing pendant chain. R2-D2 earrings, belt buckles. We're going to get back to these ads. These ads fuel my love of this magazine. But just a Warren. Who is Warren? Where are you coming out of like left field with Warren? Warren was one of the publishers of the Silver Age. And I'm going to read this from, you guessed it, the Wiki. All right. Warren Publishing was an American magazine company founded by James Warren, who published his first magazines in 1957. Oh, let me wet my whistle. I got to talk, huh? Magazines published by Warren include After Hours, Creepy, Eerie, Famous Monsters of Filmland, Help, and, you might know this one, Vampirella. Vampirella is a buxom vampire woman hero, anti-hero. I don't even know her story. All I know is just I know who Vampirella is. I've been looking at that art since I was a kid. His most famous, there's a Frank Frazetta 1969 issue number 1 of Vampirella. That's legendary and just shows off his love of the female form. Warren explained after introducing monster comic books in Monster World, Warren expanded in 1964 with horror comics and the sister magazines Creepy and Eerie, black and white publications in a standard magazine format rather than a comic book size, and selling for 35 cents as opposed to the standard comic book price of 12 cents. Such a format, Warren explained, averted the restrictions of the Comic Code Authority, seals of approval, the comic books industry's self-censorship body. The Comic Code saved the industry from turmoil, but at the same time, it had a cleansing kind of effect on comics, making them clean, proper, and family-oriented. We would overcome this by saying to the Comic Code Authority, the industry, the printers, and the distributors, we are not a comic book. We are a magazine. Creepy is magazine-sized and will be sold on magazine racks, not comic book racks. Creepy's manifesto was brief and direct. First, it was to be magazine format at 8.5 by 11, going to an older audience, not subject to the Code Authority. Indeed, and Warren paved the way for later such graphic story magazines, such as Heavy Metal, and even Marvel Comics, Epic Illustrated. Yeah, Marvel had Epic. That's where Star-Lord of the Guardians of the Galaxy came from. He was a vastly different character in the 70s. But yeah, this is Creepy 101, and this was inspired by Jaws. And I just want to say that this is art by Richard Corbin, the master of creepy horror. He passed recently, but this is some Bruce Jones art here. But Richard Corbin does the epilogue and the prologue, and he's got another feature in here too. I mean, but yeah, look, it's black and white, and we got monster tales, we got undersea stuff. We have a color one in here too. All right, and this is about humans trying to capture these undersea creatures for slave labor, and it goes horribly wrong. And this is where you found, look at that, the Frazetta collections, paperback art classics. Yeah, I mean, so these ads were great to, oh wow, look at this. Is this Mobius? No, this is Chris Adams. All right, it's got this Jean Giraud kind of look to it. It's amazing. But here, look at these Star Wars ads for tchotchkes and trinkets and buttons and patches and posters. And look, models and the Kenner line as well. This is great. This is like Star Wars had just come out the year before. Seriously. Look at all, and more Star Wars ads for where else would you get this stuff? Look at that Macquarie picture down low, huh? And makeup kits for monster lovers. That's just great. There's Vampirella. You recognize her? A 6-foot-tall Vampirella for your bedroom. We've got Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which came out right about there too. We are not alone. It was like aliens were huge. Star Wars was even bigger. I just love the ads in this. You know, I love the creepy back issues. You just look at them being like, oh, I want this one. I want that one. Horror movie. You get movies. Home reels. They would sell you reels of movies so you can watch at home on your home projector on a screen. This predates VCRs and home theaters. People would have to get by with a little 16 or 8 millimeter. You know, this is great. Psycho going for $9.95. Yeah. Wow. Superhero hobby kits. Yeah. Oh, books on horror and sci-fi films. Exactly. It's a good thing it's October, and this is very fitting, huh? For this time of year. This is great. I'm loving this, and I think I had that Star Wars bed sheet. I did. I know I had the Empire Strikes one as well, but I had both the Star Wars and the Empire Strikes Back sheets, and not the Return of the Jedi ones. I think I was a little too old for that. Not really. I mean, 83. I was 10 going on 11, and not too old. But I don't recall having Return of the Jedi sheets, but I did have that Star Wars sheet set, and I did have the Empire Strikes Back sheet set. I can see that clear. I had the Empire Strikes Back thermos and lunchbox too. I remember that. It had Yoda on the yellow thermos, or I think it was a yellow thermos. But thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been a trip down memory lane. It's a slow news day, so I'm pulling stuff from my spinner rack, and we're gonna, Airwave was a subject for today, but we've talked about Airwave a few times. Let's keep talking about comic books and other things. We're gonna talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year, so keep tuning in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We talk about comic books every day. We're doing a daily horror movies show through the entire month of October called the 31 Days of Halloween. I'll leave the playlist right about here. Check that out. I love talking about movies. I love movies. And if you love movies too, come on by and join that conversation as well. Namaste, good luck, and we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Ciao, bye-bye.